You're listening to Kevin McCullough. We have got so much for you in the next little bit, talking about breaking news as it happens, what it means, and why it matters.
Kevin McCullough, and here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Obliterating confusion. Amplifying truth. And pursuing clarity. Kevin McCullough, now.
It's Made in America Week at Kevin McCullough Radio, and today we talk about the economy. Tomorrow we broadcast from the White House. On Wednesday, also in the nation's capital. And voices that you can trust and know and understand as we have these important conversations. Today, what does the economic future look like? Stay with us.
Binge thinking. Kevin McCullough.
Something interesting is happening with this.
Kevin McCullough, let me start with you.
I found this thing at townhall.com by Kevin McCullough. The big dog has come out of nowhere.
Kevin McCullough.
I just want to help people think.
Nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
And he's playing the role as well as anybody could.
Kevin McCullough is a nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
The odds are he's right.
It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
Let me be very clear. I did not collude with Russia, nor do I know of anyone else in the campaign who did so.
That is Jared Kushner, who, of course, today made a public statement and was as transparent as I've seen anybody be on what he's suspected of having done. The issue here is that he's from the very beginning said that he is willing to talk to any of the investigative bodies. There's 9 investigations going on right now, but he is stating very clearly, I did not. Here's my testimony. Here's my notes. Here's my emails. You know, Trump Jr. a week ago. Here's my emails. They're all out in the open. What is astounding to me is that the media has forgotten that there were other people connected to the whole issue of Russia and the overseas influence and all that stuff named Clinton. And the foundation didn't turn over emails. And Hillary not only didn't, she bleach bit hers, and she tried to destroy the phones that had access to them with hammers. By the way, they may have gotten Debbie Wasserman Schultz emails as of today. That's going to be interesting to see what she had in there. But anyway, it's one side is being transparent and voluntarily giving everything up, not making them subpoena them, not making them say, oh, well, you know, get your lawyer and let's go. That was what the Democrats did. That's what Hillary Clinton did. That's what the DNC did. No, you're not going to look at our stuff. We're not going to volunteer it. So I'm proud of Jared today. I don't agree with him on everything. In fact, there's some things that he and Ivanka are on that disagree with their dad, and I disagree with them as well. But I got to say, this is a very transparent administration, given that there's a lot of other people connected to some of these same questions, and nobody ever seems to ask those questions. Anyway, welcome to the Made in America Week. We are going to be celebrating all week long some of the great things that are going on in America, and tomorrow we will begin some of our Washington, D.C. coverage that will carry on through the end of the week as well. You're going to hear from different cabinet members and different high-ranking people as we walk through the week, and kind of looking at different pockets of the nation specifically. And one of those things that you can never get away from talking about is the economy and what's going on. And so on this Money Monday of the Made in America Week, brought to us in part by the Annan Flag Company, so grateful for their support and their underwriting of my broadcast and of several of our other Salem colleagues as well. I wanted to say thank you to them for doing that, but I also wanted to say on this Money Monday, David Fisher is back with us to talk about, in an extended format, the stocks and the economy and the government and the Fed and what is happening in this country as we think about where we are now and where we were a year ago. David Fisher, welcome back.
Thank you for having me on your program this extended time, Kevin. I appreciate that. And your listeners, I enjoy always talking to them.
Well, we enjoy talking to you. And today, because you're with us a little bit extra, I'm going to give people an opportunity, if they want to call in and ask questions of you, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
888-340-3373. Maybe you've heard David on Mondays and you've wanted to ask him a question about investments or about the economy or what the stock market is doing, and we'll throw the phone lines open to you if you'd like to get in on that today. 888-340-3373. David, the theme of the Made in America Week, and the reason I'm broadcasting from the White House tomorrow at the invitation of the president, is that we do feel like that there's a story that's not being told about the economy in the midst of all the other junk that the media is focusing on. How big of an untold story do you think the economy and some of the correction that we've or the improvement that we've seen and maybe the correction that lies out there, how much do you think this is being ignored by the media in favor of some of these other, what I consider to be peripheral stories?
Well, yeah, definitely this whole Russia collusion, or really where there isn't one, is a circus news media campaign to stop the present administration and the House and Congress to get things done, and they just want to put all these roadblocks. So I think it's the plan of the Democrats personally, and in some ways they're succeeding, but there's underlying problems that are not being talked about, but some people are talking about it, especially some people in Congress, which is our debt structure and the debt ceiling, and getting some bills passed, working together. So when you start putting the pieces together, I think the key thing is for the economy to keep going, or the market, and some people call the economy is the same as the Dow, the market, there's going to have to be some give and take somewhere along the line. They're going to sacrifice the dollar, which means we can send over more business, do more business dealings and sell more things abroad because our currency is cheap. They got to sacrifice the Fed's balance sheet, which, that's a whole other topic we'll probably touch on today. Or they got to sacrifice the debt of our country, but something's going to give, and we're in the teeter-tottering environment right now, I believe, more than we have ever been in this coming week to a month.
How much has it affected the well, I'll get to that question in a second. Okay, so and I don't know who I'm going to have sitting at my table tomorrow when I go live on the White House, but they're going to make cabinet people available to us. And if I get Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, and he sits in front of me, what's the first question David Fisher advises Kevin McCullough to ask of the Treasury Secretary if he's the first one that sits in front of me on my show tomorrow?
Are you going to release Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac out of receivership and let them stand on their own 2 feet since they paid all their money back?
That is a great question. In fact, I had remembered you bringing that up back when, what was it, when he first came up, and then they haven't done anything with that. So
no.
Release Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and since they've paid all the money, and do that. Okay, if he sits in front of me tomorrow, that will be the first question I ask Steve Mnuchin, and I'll even give you credit for it. I'll say David Fisher said I needed to ask this question. All right, so so let me ask you this: as what seems to have been the legislative agenda has somewhat stalled,
yes,
with health care, and that is said to be stalling tax reform. We saw a big economic boom in the country out of the gate on the optimistic idea that this stuff was going to get done. How much does it hurt for these things to be continually lagging and kind of dragging behind where they had hoped to be at this point?
I think it's the two pieces of the two legs to the tripod of this. So if they don't get tax reform done, and it doesn't look like they're going to, unfortunately, and if they don't get the health care bill done, which is a bigger problem than tax reform, we're going to see the market move in a sideways pattern. Since this has not moved anywhere down the road as far as them really getting things done, the Dow, just to let you know the technical side, which shows up on what's happening in Washington, has been stuck in a trading range from 21,700 points down to 21,200, and that's happened since March 6th, Kevin. It's dipped a few times below 21,200, but it's in a trading range, and what will cause it to break up or down is either enormous earnings this week, because that's what this week is about, and so far last week we had a little bit of good news with earnings, or them passing one of these two very important bills, health care and tax reform.
And if they get one or both of them passed, then you think the end of this year could be a real big cycle?
I think you could see this year and next year the Dow move 30% between now and the end of next year.
Wow.
I think that's going to be very good. But I think we have a divided country, evidenced by the same bill that President Obama wanted to pass, $1 trillion spending bill, and Republicans hated it, Democrats loved it for infrastructure. It didn't get passed. The same bill is picked up by President Trump. It's the same title for the same purpose. Democrats hate the thing, and Republicans love it, and it's not going to get passed. So we don't have a working environment, so that takes the precedence in moving forward on all these bills, and that's the big fundamental problem. Our country has now moved. It's not just this presidency, it's previous presidencies. Our country has evolved where it's not really working together, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, it's Made in America Week, and the first topic of focus for Kevin McCullough Radio this week is the economy, and we are talking about it with David Fisher, and of course, he always has great gifts for you if you reach out to his company, Landmark Capital, and I'm going to tell you more about them when we continue. Also, we're going to talk about a lot of the other things going on that need to be examined from the economic lens when we continue. It is Kevin McCullough Radio. Hi, Kevin McCullough. It's summertime, and I know there's nothing tougher than deciding what you want to put on your grill for that next big barbecue or even for dinner on a weeknight. I've got a perfect couple of products for you to try. The new unmistakable Latin flavor of Campesino Salami Especial and Amanita Campesino. The Sabal Meat Products are the company that put these out. The Campesino Salami Especial is a favorite blend of meats and spices. Tastes great. It's high in protein, gluten-free. The Amanita Campesino is also a blend of salami and ham, also delicious and high in protein. They're perfect for grilling, sandwiches, or even salads. You can find these and any other products of Sabal Meats at a supermarket near you, including BJ's, Costco, Jetro, Stop & Shop, and Sam's Clubs. Pick up Sabal Meat Products, and don't forget to listen to my show every Friday to hear the Sabal Meat Trivia Question of the Week, or head to am570themission.com for a chance to win a whole basket of these delicious grilling goodies. Remember, if you don't see their logo from the start, don't put it in your shopping cart. Sabal Meat Products, over 45 years of tradition and quality.
Are you a responsible person who finds yourself growing deeper and deeper in credit card debt and you're not sure how to fix the problem? Then get ready for a toll-free number that will put you on a path to financial recovery. Trinity Debt Management is a nonprofit organization that will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, put a stop to late fees and over-limit charges, and reduce your interest rates by as much as 60%. You'll save thousands and become debt-free for keeps. It's not a loan. It's a smart way to relieve your stress, meet your obligations, and preserve your self-respect. If your debt has you down, we should talk. Gather up your bills and call this toll-free number for a free, no-obligation debt analysis. 1-800-936-5496. That's 1-800-936-5496. If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. We've been telling you for a number of weeks. In fact, almost every week, another hedge fund manager, another bank CEO, another titan of industry have all come out and said, friends, the economy is not going to last. This bubble that we're in of optimism over what may happen in the Trump administration has not borne itself out in legislation and actual facts. And that means that we are on the verge of a correction. See, when you have a record stock market, and people that understand the foundations are not secure, then that means you're vulnerable. And if you think you're vulnerable now, wait until the correction does come and the government decides to seize your hard-earned money from your investment account. They are legally allowed to do that under the Dodd-Frank Act. But you can protect yourself, and my friends at Landmark Capital today can show you how. Free information when you ask for it at 844-604-2575. That's 844-604-2575. Don't be caught by surprise. Get protected. 844-604-2575. That's 844-604-2575. Or find them at landmarkgold.com.
Suffering from back pain? The Brooklyn Spine Center is here to help. Listen to Dr. Robert Zaloom, cardiologist, Lutheran Medical Center.
My story actually goes back 20 years. I remember one incident lifting a box of heavy books and something snapped in my back. I was in so much pain and almost desperate. I said, I got to try something. So I came here. They took me right away. And the first day I had a treatment, and I couldn't believe in just one session, I already had 50% relief of my pain. In 2-3 weeks, I was pain-free. It was, for me, a miracle.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keller, director of the Brooklyn Spine Center. Through non-surgical spinal decompression, we have been able to give our patients their lives back and offer them an alternative to painful injections or risky surgery. Please call us. If we can help you, we will tell you, and if we can't help you, we will tell you that too.
Say hello to the Brooklyn Spine Center and goodbye to pain. Call 718-475-9438 or brooklynspinecenter.com. That's brooklynspinecenter.com.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. I gotta tell you, if you're looking for the perfect gift for someone this summer, this fall, this Christmas, you have now had the perfect opportunity to get it. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the perfect night's sleep. 3 years ago, MyPillow came into my family's life, my bedroom, my bed, and helped me start getting the best sleep of my life every single night. And right now, Mike Lindell appreciates you so much, he is saying you can have everything on the MyPillow website up to 50% off just for going right now. It's imperative that you go to MyPillow.com or call them at 800-506-2641, 800-506-2641, and help them walk through everything you need for the perfect night's sleep. They're taking 50% off the bed toppers, the human beds, the pet beds, the pillows. Everything in the lineup is reduced just because of Mike's fondness for you. So call right now, 1-800-506-2641. That's 800-506-2641. Use promo code AM570.
Breaking news as it happens. You're listening to Kevin McCullough Radio.
All right, we've got a lot to get to this week. It's Made in America week, and I am very excited to have the opportunity to take some longer looks at some of the subjects and some of the areas of American life that are going to be kind of put under the microscope this week. And we're starting this week with an extended look at the economy, and David Fisher of Landmark Capital is with us. You have gotten to know David over the last year as he has joined us on Money Mondays, talking about those ways that we can protect ourselves. We're going to get into that as well. But he's also offering a couple of free gifts to you today if you are so interested. And it's there's a couple of ways to go about these. Of course, he's got literature that he's always willing to make available to you. That's one of the great strengths of Landmark. They truly do try to educate the people that reach out to them and say, if you're not familiar with what's going on, these resources will help you, including his 6th edition of The Coming Bail-In. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. And also the white paper, Your IRA Having Physical Metals and Taking Possession with No Tax Liability. But there's a couple of other gifts that he's got as giveaways today. If you call and you are interested in rolling over your IRA through the Landmark offices, they are going to give you 10 free ounces of silver if your IRA amount is $25,000 or more. You've got to roll that over before the 29th of September in order to qualify. But what a tremendous gift from Landmark Capital. And if you don't have $25,000 to roll over today, there's another way you could get 10 free ounces of silver. You can call them, or you can go on the website at landmarkgold.com. You can call them at 844-604-2575. You sign up for the new newsletter. It's called Reactive Instead of Proactive Equals Destructive. But then enter in the comments as to why you think owning precious metals might be important to you. And they are going to pick they're going to draw a name on August the 14th on this broadcast, and that will be the winner of the it's kind of like an essay contest, but it's not a full essay. It's just in the comments section when you sign up for the newsletter. You put in the comments why you personally believe that owning precious metals is important to you, and they're gonna draw a name from the people that win. We may even read your comments on the air. I think we'll be able to do that, and then we'll give that 10 free ounces of silver away on August the 14th. So that'll be a lot of fun. But you can find out more about both of those when you call 844-604-2575, 844-604-2575, or go online at landmarkgold.com. All right, David, let's talk about these different government areas that we're facing as an economy right now, and we touched on the first two a little bit, the health care bill, the tax bill, but there's a couple of other areas why our country's debt and the debt ceiling are not being addressed properly, and also why Congress isn't getting things done. Let's start with the country's debt and the debt ceiling. Tell us your thoughts on where we stand with that.
Well, check some facts out about the debt. The U.S. national debt on January 1st in 1791 was just $75 million. That's the same amount that it rises in an hour today, Kevin.
Wow.
So the U.S. debt has increased on an average annual rate at 8.5% since the year 1938. And in the year 2000, it started to escalate. It was at $5.6 trillion. 8 years later, it almost doubled at $9.9 trillion, call it 10. And now we're at close to $20 trillion. And the Congressional Budget Office, if it keeps on that rate, will be $40 trillion in 8 years. But the Congressional Budget Office says we're going to at least be $10 trillion dollars in debt higher. So the debt is out of control, and the United government has a ferocious appetite for debt, unfortunately, while the rest of the world simply doesn't have enough money to lend us. So the Federal Reserve is buying most of our U.S. debt, which creates another problem. And the only reason is because they can create the money out of thin air called the Treasury to do this. So with that, we have a debt ceiling coming up, which some people might not think is a big deal, but more and more people are coming out and saying it is. The one that happened this week is Morgan Stanley. In fact, they talked about 4 things that worries them, and they said by far the biggest immediate risk to the market is the debt ceiling. And so, this is Morgan Stanley. They came out in a report Sunday. Andrew Sheets, he's the bank's chief cross-asset strategist. So one of the top guys at Morgan Stanley is saying the biggest thing that concerns us is the debt ceiling. Because, he goes on and says, the government is not a working government. It's the worst it's ever been in the history of our government in our lifetime that we can ever reflect upon, as it's not getting things done. And this is showing up in proof in the 3-month Treasury bill auction recently, that prices at the highest yield since Lehman on the debt ceilings are the same type of values. And so Morgan Stanley is saying, we need to be worried about this, because if the government continues to behave, they have been behaving the previous 6 months, we will not have a debt ceiling that gets raised, and we will have a default for the first time in our country.
What does a default mean for the average taxpayer?
Okay, well, if you bought a Treasury bill, that means the government owes you interest for you buying their debt. If we don't make payment on that interest, then we default, which means this is the whole backbone system to our country, and it's overspending, because when we overspend, Kevin, we have to get the money from somewhere, so the Treasury creates a Treasury bill, and that gets sold on Wall Street. People buy it to invest in it and get a return on their money. So if we don't give them the return on their money, the whole confidence of the financial system in America falls apart. So this is a big thing, the first time we've ever faced it at this level significantly, and this is why it's finally being talked about. Steve Mnuchin recently wrote a letter to Congress to get this on their agenda. It's not even on the agenda of Congress in the summer months here. So it's going to happen sometime. We're going to run out of money, according to Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary. We're going to run out of money sometime mid-October or possibly sooner, depending on how much tax revenue comes in.
Well, and it's just another sign, friends, that a correction, if it comes in the economy, might not be, just a normal correction. This could be a very serious one. And it's one of the reasons why you need to make sure that your finances are protected. And there's lots of ways that you can find out about that, particularly for your investment portfolio. And Landmark is standing by ready to help you. Call them right now, 844-604-2575. Ask about how you can get the 10 free ounces of silver, and also participate in the little essay contest on the newsletter. Reactive instead of proactive equals destructive. Coming right back. Kevin McCullough Radio.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-725-1616 now and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you a copy of The Number 1 Mistakes Retirees Are Making with Their Investments Today and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-725-1616. That's 800-725-1616. Employees of J.D. Melberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. I know exactly how you feel. This summer, you have put on fewer clothes, and as you have looked at yourself in the mirror, you have said, I do not like what I see. I don't like being in my own skin, and I really wish I could do something about it that would actually work. Friends, if I could guarantee that you could lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, and I mean guarantee it, would you be tempted to try it? It is an exact fat-burning solution that I went through myself 3 years ago, burning off 30 pounds and keeping it off. There is no hunger, no cravings, no drugs, no prepackaged foods. It's doctor-supervised. You eat real food the entire time. My friend Dr. Carrie Skorsky and the Bay Ridge Holistic Healthcare Center helped me achieve my goal, and I know they can help you achieve one as well. Call right now to get started. 844-THE-DIET. They guarantee the results. Or go to anewyouin40days.com. That's 844-THE-DIET for guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds weight loss in 40 days. That's 844-THE-DIET.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code THEMISSION.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. It's the summertime, which means engagements on the beach, weddings under the sunset, and if you or your friends are getting married or popping the question this summer, you need to go to Lord's Diamonds for your perfect engagement ring. My friend Anu has been helping Kevin McCullough listeners for more than a decade make their engagements even more special. I've had a great experience with Lord's Diamonds personally as well, getting the lovely bride an anniversary ring a number of years ago that she had always wanted, thanks to the care that Anu takes. Give Lord's Diamonds a call, 212-789-8500, or visit lordsdiamonds.com. We also invite you to take part in the Lord's Diamonds Summer Giveaway. Sign up at am570themission.com for a chance to win a beautiful blue sapphire and diamond anniversary ring worth $3,000. You can also email me at kmcradio@gmail.com to enter. That's am570themission.com. Or call Anu at 212-789-8500. That's 212-789-8500.
When you need a lawyer you can trust, call the law offices of Dan Buttafuoco and Associates. Call 1-800-NOW-HURT. That's 1-800-NOW-HURT.
Happening in New York or across the globe. Learn why it matters first on Kevin McCullough Radio.
Last month, the FOMC augmented its policy normalization principles and plans by providing additional details on the process that we will follow in normalizing the size of our balance sheet.
That's Janet Yellen. She was before Congress, and she had a lot to say, but did it matter? She did end up talking about lowering the Fed's balance sheet and talked about rising rates. Then later she pulled back from those statements. What is the Fed really going to do? as we are dealing with the Made in America week. We have kicked it off here, brought to you in part by my good friends at Annan Flags, and will be punctuated by some broadcasts that we will do most significantly tomorrow and Wednesday from the White House. Hope that you will be with us. We are excited about being able to bring you some really top-notch coverage of all these issues. But David Fisher of Landmark Capital is with us, and he's always with us on Mondays. David, let's talk about what Janet's words say and then what the Fed really intends. Are they one and the same?
I think there's I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and so therefore I can't tell you exactly what we're going to do is really what's happening behind the scenes. But this is not just the Fed, it's all central bankers, even Mario Draghi, who's the head of the ECB. Both of them have recently had very hawkish statements, which means they believe that interest rates are going to go up and they're going to raise rates. Then they turn around within just 2 or 3 days because the markets don't perform very well in higher interest rates. And this is what we saw with the Fed, with Janet Yellen, when she announced it originally that they're going to be on a path towards raising rates, towards normalization, and lowering the balance sheet, and what that would be to the market where it doesn't have this stimulus. The market started to go down quite a bit, and then just a couple days later, which happened last week, she changed her tune and was very vague on what she was going to do. How much that was the Fed going to unravel their balance sheet? She did not give us a number at that. She said it might be $60 million a month or $60 billion a month, but she couldn't commit to that. She didn't say how many months or years it would be. She pulled and withdrew her statement on how much they're going to raise interest rates because they're seeing that those first movements, Kevin, are not very good for the stock market. So this tells you really how fragile, one, unloading the balance sheet of the Fed is, and how bad that can affect the market by also raising rates at the same time. So they're in a pickle right now. They don't really know what to do, and they've never had a balance sheet this large.
And I want to talk to people that are listening and say, but Kev, you guys are talking about the stock market, and I'm not a day trader, and this doesn't affect me. At the end of the day, David, people's 401ks are all affected by every one of these moves because whether people realize it or not, if they own a 401k, and a lot of people in America do, every jot and tittle of the stock market usually impacts at least some of the portfolio that you probably owned, even if you're just in managed funds or what have you. It's still a collection of stocks, and so because of that, all of this is ended up weighing on the end consumer, not just the traders, not just the people that do day trading during the day, but everyone in America.
Absolutely. If put it in simple layman's terms, if the Fed wouldn't have done what they did in expanding their balance sheet from $500 billion to $4.5 trillion, that's a lot of money they created in 3 years. If they wouldn't have done that, the stock market would not be at 21,000 plus points. It would probably be in 12 or 13,000 point range right now. This is what economists are saying. So they've clearly influenced the stock market. Now they're pulling that stimulus away and have to shrink this, so we don't have a point in time of history, Kevin, that tells us how this will adversely affect the market. But most people, the market just said in 48 hours, 2 days of trading, it is going to affect it negatively, and this is why they changed their tune. So they don't know what to do.
All right. We're talking with David Fisher. It's Made in America week on Kevin McCullough Radio, and we're going to be at the White House for at least a couple of these broadcasts. Let's talk a second. You're giving away 10 ounces of silver, David, for people that roll over the 401k or the IRA into gold investments. Let's touch on that when we come back and talk about the kind of ins and outs of how they can do that and take possession of it without tax liability. That's a lot of people don't know about that. And friends, if you would like to find out more as well, 844-604-2575. But get the coming bail in, get your retirement rolled over, and protect yourself. It's Kevin McCullough Radio. Hi, Kevin McCullough. So glad that we are able to let you know that in a day in which there's such uncertainty in the economy, that some things are still dependable. One thing you can take control of is, for instance, the rate of your home or refinance loan, because right now they are still at some of the lowest in history, and it's certain that you'll be paying more if you wait much longer.
The Federal Reserve just raised rates again, so now is the time to take action. My friends Mike Rakeman and Brian Shealy at the Intercontinental Capital Group are committed to finding you the lowest rates possible and to save you money. Mike and Brian do everything they can to help you, whether it's refinance or first-time purchase. Call Mike Rakeman and Brian Shealy at Intercontinental Capital Group and lock in a low rate today. 800-300-8919. That's 800-300-8919. Intercontinental Capital Group, licensed mortgage banker, equal housing lender, NMLS number 60134.
Buttafuoco and Associates has successfully won nearly $500 million in verdicts and settlements. Dan talks about representing Scott.
Scott's case was one of the most important cases my office ever handled. First of all, Scott was a true public servant. He was actually working as a state police officer when he was injured. He was riding an ATV on the dunes when it hit a defect that shouldn't have been there from an old snow fence. His ATV flipped over, he broke his neck, and he became a quadriplegic. The state offered $0 to settle this case, so it was all or nothing. We had to win this case, which we did in state court. The case settled for close to $15 million. The actual payout is closer to about $40 million, so Scott is set for the rest of his life with his family. The case was so important it made the front page of the Law Journal.
For a free evaluation of your case, call 1-800-NOW-HURT, 1-800-669-4878, helping accident victims rebuild their lives. Buttafuoco and Associates, 1-800-669-4878.
Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Suffering from back pain? The Brooklyn Spine Center is here to help. Listen to Dr. Robert Zaloom, cardiologist, Lutheran Medical Center.
My story actually goes back 20 years. I remember one incident lifting a box of heavy books and something snapped in my back. I was in so much pain and almost desperate. I said, I got to try something. So I came here. They took me right away. And the first day I had a treatment, and I couldn't believe in just one session, I already had 50% relief of my pain. In 2-3 weeks, I was pain-free. It was, for me, a miracle.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keller, director of the Brooklyn Spine Center. Through non-surgical spinal decompression, we have been able to give our patients their lives back and offer them an alternative to painful injections or risky surgery. Please call us. If we can help you, we will tell you, and if we can't help you, we will tell you that too.
Say hello to the Brooklyn Spine Center and goodbye to pain. Call 718-475-9438 or brooklynspinecenter.com. That's brooklynspinecenter.com.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-494-2323. That's 800-494-2323. 800-494-2323. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
For a free evaluation of your case, call the law offices of Dan Buttafuoco and Associates. Call 1-800-NOW-HURT. 1-800-NOW-HURT.
Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be in the greatest city in the world. In the greatest city in the world.
If it's happening in New York or across the globe, learn why it matters first on Kevin McCullough Radio.
The first rule of medicine is do no harm. But Obamacare's lies have caused this, and throughout the whole country, families like this, nothing but pain.
That's Donald Trump speaking a little bit earlier, as he makes a statement on the condition of health care and the health care bill. You know, the debate has not gone well. But here on this Made in America week at Kevin McCullough Radio, we are dedicating our broadcasts this week to various issues that impact the lives of those who listen. And it's one of the reasons why I'm proud to have David Fisher back with us on this Money Monday and talking about the very real issue of your dollars and cents And David, there's a lot of reasons why people need to protect themselves these days. It may be because they have a healthcare disaster in their family and they liquidate, all of their savings, and when that's gone, that's gone. It may be that they have other types of calamities that occur, but when it's the potential of the government taking your money, that's something that's a little less expected and a little less anticipated. And you and I have talked a lot about the coming bail-in. You've written 6 editions of this thought and this principle and issue. The 6th edition now being available for free when people call 844-604-2575. But let's talk about this for a second, because the basics of what we need to understand here literally could be the difference in financial life or death for our own family.
Well, it's happened in 9 countries already. And we've drafted the blueprint on the fix for our country, Kevin, and that's how this came about with the Dodd-Frank Act that was passed in 2010. And so the bottom line is the debt of our country, of all countries, has to have a backstop. And so the new fandangled model is if governments can't keep their debt in order, they're going to rely upon their citizens to help them with their debt. So that's the simple way of doing this. I don't appreciate it and I don't support it, but that's the new trend amongst the world. So Canada's passed laws. I mean, there's lots of countries that have passed identical laws that we have passed and that have already happened in other countries. So it's not just America, but it's a global thing. In fact, the International Monetary Fund says this is what all countries now need to do, set up laws for a bail-in. So this is the opposite of a bailout where we bailed out General Motors and AIG and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. We came to their rescue. Nobody can come and fix America financially. It's the citizens now is responsible according to the laws of the Dodd-Frank. So this is where they're allowed to go into a retirement, a 401k, an IRA, bank accounts, stocks. There's nothing immune according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau from a bail-in. So this is why we recommend you diversify into precious metals, because it's something that doesn't trade electronically. You physically hold it, so you put some insulation between you and the government. And because of this, we probably would think that gold and silver might go up quite a bit also. So it's a great investment opportunity as amongst also as a financial insurance policy.
Sure. Well, just to be clear, I want people to understand what we're talking about. When you say they can seize your investment accounts, you think, well, no, that requires my account number and my PIN number, and nobody can get into my stuff. Oh, that's exactly not what the opposite of what it means, because the Dodd-Frank Act, under certain conditions, has said, and they didn't do it with the buy-in of the American people. We'd never vote for this. We would never collectively vote 51% of our population to be in favor of this. So they passed it, kind of cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors around us, so that we would be left in the dark. But you and others are bringing this to the forefront. And as you said, they've done it in 9 other countries. But when certain conditions take effect and the government goes, oops, I did it again, then those investment accounts, they can literally electronically just reach into them and take what's ours out of them for their own purposes, and we don't have any say about it, which is what I love about, and this is why I have invested in precious metals for such a long time. In fact, I have a little higher ratio than a lot of people recommend. I put about 50% of my total portfolio into metals. But that is part of the reason is because I don't like the government having such easy electronic access to what is the representation of my hours and hours and hours of labor that I feel like my family should benefit from, not the government. Am I crazy, David?
You're absolutely right. A recent poll out there done by Fox News that was released on Varney and Company on the issues our country is facing and how extremely concerned people are. Healthcare rated at 82%. So 82% of the people are concerned it's not going to get taken care of. The future of the economy, 81%. People are scared about the future of the economy. And the future of our country also at 81%. So most people feel that something is getting ready to happen, and they're concerned. So what we do, Kevin, is we put the pieces of the puzzle together. Something's got to give to take care of this debt. And this is where it goes on the back of the consumers. And according to the article in the Wall Street Journal, the number percentages of how much the government would take would be between 56 to 71%. So half or a little bit more is what they would do. They would give you a note back, a government retirement annuity. So this is why, prepare for the future. The future is coming, and, don't be reactive, but be proactive. Otherwise, we could see some challenges financially in our lives.
Yeah, and that's why you've written your most recent newsletter, which is free, by the way, for people. Reactive instead of proactive equals destructive. And that makes a lot of sense to me, friends. If you're listening and you're saying, David and Kevin, I get it. The better we plan. I was reading an article today on the train on the way to the studio. The best way to eat healthy is to plan to do it. Plan out your shopping, plan out your meals, plan out your snacks, plan for it the night before so that they're in the fridge so you don't lose time when you're headed to the train in the morning. In other words, planning ahead of the game, you will be on the path that you need to be on. But if you are waiting until you are caught behind the cue ball, then all of a sudden things are just kind of spinning out of control. And you certainly should take that approach to your finances. And David, for people that are spiritual people, that are faith people, this is really important because we view some of that stuff as not even belonging to us.
Absolutely right. Scripture says a portion to 7, a portion to 8, because you do not know what tragedy may befall you. So this is about being good stewards of the funds that the Lord has entrusted us with.
Right.
The warning signs are there. Jim Rogers, a legendary investor, is saying we're going to have a major collapse in 2 years, and he predicts it's the worst in his lifetime. And even the Fed, Neil Kashkari, who's the president of the Fed of Minneapolis, Minnesota, said recently that, quote, U.S. taxpayers will have to bail out the nation's biggest bank the next
Friends,
crisis.
Before that happens, I want you to get the information. I want you to get your 10 free ounces of silver. I want you to call Landmark Capital. I want you to go through the process and learn more. 844-604-2575.
It's no surprise that pastors trust and constantly recommend Dan Buttafuoco's office to personal injury victims.
Pastor Larry, a really wonderful human being, has a really great church, and his main focus is feeding the homeless. Pastor Larry was walking from the church one day, and he was in the crosswalk when he was hit by a school bus, very badly injured. The school bus driver claimed he was only doing 3 miles an hour, but we knew from the fact that the Freightliner logo was imprinted on his arm that could not possibly be the case. So we were able to prove that the bus was going much faster. The case settled for close to $5 million after the initial offer was $200,000.
What makes Buttafuoco and Associates different is they serve their clients beyond the case. They help accident victims rebuild their lives. For a free evaluation of your case, call 1-800-NOW-HURT. 1-800-669-4878. That's 1-800-669-4878.
Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Want to try something different on your grill this year? Try the new unmistakable Latin flavor of Campesino Salami Especial from Cibao Meat Products. The Campesino Salami Especial is a flavorful product with a blend of fine meat and spices perfect for grilling, sandwiches, and salads. Try it. You'll love it. Add Latin flavor to all of your meals. Cibao Meat Products Campesino Salami Especial is available at any supermarket near you, including BJ's, Costco, Jetro, Stop & Shop, and Sam's Club. Serve it with your next meal or grill it up at your next barbecue. Your friends will taste the difference. Pick up the Campesino Salami Especial cooked salami from Cibao Meat Products today. Remember, if you don't see our logo from the start, don't put it in your shopping cart. Cibao Meat Products. Over 45 years of tradition and quality. Make it your tradition today. For information on their other fine products, go to CibaoMeat.com. That's CIBAO meat.com.
Be in demand with a Master of Legal Studies degree from faith-based Trinity Law School in Southern California. Our fully accredited online Master of Legal Studies degree is for those who don't want to become a lawyer but realize that knowledge of the law is in high demand. And MLS will give you an in-depth understanding of legal documents, proceedings, and rights, all taught from the Christian worldview Trinity is known for. For more information, call 800-922-4748. Again, that's 800-922-4748. Trinity Law School. Be in demand.
When what you need to know when you need it. It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
Well, it's Made in America Week, and Kevin McCullough very excited to be able to focus on some of these really important issues with you throughout this week. Some of the broadcasts, in fact, more of them than not, I think, taking place from our nation's capital. We will be parked on the lawn at the White House tomorrow. I don't know which cabinet members they will bring to me, but I have my question if they bring Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin to me. And David, see if I get this right. David Fisher, Landmark Gold CEO. Mr. Secretary, are you going to release the receivership of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, given that they have paid back what they owed?
Perfect.
All right. I got it written down. I'm ready to go. Now, if I get a second, if he doesn't get up and walk away when I ask him that, what should my second question be?
How do you think our country can deal with our long-term debt problems plus the unfunded liabilities?
There you go. Long-term debt and unfunded. The unfunded stuff is the real killer because we just have no way of right now conceivably paying for it. We've got to fix this in a big-time way, and that's going to require some major changes. Real quickly, David, I love to ask you this question. If somebody had started the year and they put equal amounts of investment dollars in the stock market and in gold and in silver, where would they be at in terms of the value of their gold and silver and stocks today?
Silver would be the least. It got hit really hard recently, but your $10,000 would be $10,200. Stocks would be next at $10,840 using the Dow as the index, and gold would be the winner at $10,900, slightly outperforming stocks.
Now, how odd is it that all three of those would be, well, silver and gold often reflect each other, but how odd is it that both the Dow and gold would be up on the year?
Usually that's not the norm, although I've been in environments for 25 years where I've seen bull markets in both. And I think, the best is coming up for gold because since 1975, over about a 40-year period of time, gold performs the worst in March and April, yet the best performance is September, which is the worst month for the S&P 500, ironically.
Right.
And the falls is the best time for gold. So we're getting ready to see a big movement in gold. I think gold might outperform the Dow this year.
And if there is some correction in the market, that's almost a surety.
Well, yeah, if the market corrects in stocks, then, gold went up in 2008, 72% in 1 year. I don't expect those big corrections, but we're going to have some correction coming up, and it could be, if it's systemic enough, it could be a big correction. That would, cause a whole lot of problems.
All right. Well, David, I appreciate the care and sensitivity with which you have handled every one of my listeners who have called. And friends, if you have not yet called and gotten to know David and his people through our Money Monday visits, I'm just encouraging you to do that because, first of all, you could win 10 free ounces of silver if you roll over your IRA or your 401k and you've got $25,000 or more in that. They're going to give you 10 free ounces of silver just right off the bat. But if you don't have that, you could also win 10 free ounces of silver if you sign up for the free newsletter and then enter in the comment section why you think owning precious metals is important or should be important to you. They're going to draw a name from those that enter, and on August the 14th, we will announce the winner of those 10 free ounces of silver on this broadcast. David Fisher of Landmark Capital, thank you for all that you do. Thanks for keeping your eye on the markets, and thanks for helping us out today.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. God bless you and America.
We're just off on a very, very cool beginning to Made in America Week, and I hope that you'll be with us all week long, tomorrow and Wednesday from Washington, D.C., maybe even Thursday as well. It's going to be a busy week, but we are glad to bring it to you, and a big thanks to the Donald Trump administration for inviting us and for hosting us. Kevin McCullough, we'll see you next time.